It was a dark and stormy night, and I found myself alone in an old, creaky house at the edge of town. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows and sending shivers down my spine. I had just moved in a few days ago, and this was my first night in the place. Little did I know, it would be a night I'd never forget. The house had always been a bit of an oddity in the neighbourhood. It had stood there for as long as anyone could remember, its weathered exterior giving it an eerie, abandoned look. But when I saw the "for sale" sign in front of it, something drew me to it. Maybe it was the challenge of fixing it up, or maybe it was just the allure of owning a piece of history. As I lay in my creaky old bed, trying to get some sleep, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. It was as if there was someone else in the room with me, watching me from the shadows. I dismissed it as my imagination running wild, but I couldn't ignore the persistent feeling of unease. The clock on the wall ticked away, each second feeling like an eternity. And then, just as I was about to drift off, I heard it. A faint whisper, like a soft, raspy voice calling my name. Sarah. My heart skipped a beat, and I sat up in bed, scanning the room in the dim moonlight. There was no one there. I must have imagined it, I told myself. But then I heard it again, closer this time. Sarah. I was frozen in fear, unable to move or speak. The voice seemed to be coming from the corner of the room, near the old wardrobe. I watched in terror as the wardrobe door slowly creaked open, revealing a darkness that seemed to swallow everything. I wanted to scream, to run, but I couldn't. It was as if some invisible force held me in place. And then, from the darkness emerged a figure, a tall, shadowy silhouette with piercing, glowing eyes. It moved towards me, its movement slow and deliberate. "Who are you?" I managed to stammer, my voice trembling. The figure said nothing, but its eyes bore into mine, filled with a malevolence that sent chills down my spine. I felt a cold, clammy hand on my shoulder, and I knew I had to get out of there. Summoning every ounce of strength, I broke free from the invisible grip and leaped out of bed. I ran for the door, my heart pounding like a drum. But as I reached the hallway, I realized that the house itself was against me. The doors slammed shut, one by one, trapping me inside. Panic set in as I frantically searched for a way out. I heard the figure's sinister laughter echoing through the house, growing louder with each passing second. I had to find a way to escape this nightmare. I stumbled into the kitchen, my breath ragged. The windows were nailed shut and the back door was bolted from the inside. There was no way out. I was trapped. Just when I thought all hope was lost, I remembered the cellar. It was my last chance. I sprinted to the cellar door, flung it open, and descended the rickety stairs into the darkness below. The cellar was damp and filled with an eerie silence. I could hear my own labored breathing and the distant sound of the storm outside. I knew I couldn't stay down here forever, but at least I was safe for the moment. As I groped around in the darkness, my hand brushed against something cold and metallic. It was a flashlight. I clicked it on, and its feeble beam pierced the blackness, revealing the cellar's secrets. The walls were lined with ancient, decaying books and strange symbols etched into the stone. It was like something out of a nightmare. And then, in the corner of the cellar, I saw it, the source of the evil that had invaded my home. There, in a makeshift altar, was a twisted, grotesque idol. It looked like a monstrous hybrid of man and beast with horns and fangs. I knew I had to destroy it, to break whatever curse it held over this house. With trembling hands, I reached for the idol and toppled it from its pedestal. It crashed to the ground, shattering into 100 pieces. As it did, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the cellar and then silence. The house no longer felt malevolent. The oppressive presence that had haunted me had lifted. I climbed the cellar stairs, and this time the doors opened willingly. The storm outside had passed, and the first light of dawn was breaking. I stumbled out of the house, shaken but alive. I knew I could never go back inside, and I didn't care. As I walked away from that old creaky house, I couldn't help but wonder about its dark history and the evil that had resided within it. Some mysteries are better left unsolved, and some houses are better left abandoned. And that, my friend, is the story of the night I spent in that haunted house. I hope you never have to experience anything like it. And if you ever find yourself drawn to an old, eerie house, remember my tale and think twice before stepping inside.